Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be diving deep into growth factors
Oh, yeah.
and how they can actually contribute to cancer.
It's a fascinating area.
Yeah. So our jumping off point for this deep dive is an article from Assay Genie
Okay.
called Unraveling the Synergy, How Growth Factors Cooperate to Promote Tumorigenesis.
Kitschy title.
It is. So, when you hear growth factors, you might think,
Yeah.
oh, that sounds like a good thing. Like, I want those.
Right.
But it turns out, like so many things in biology, it's all about balance.
Yeah, it's true. Think of growth factors like messengers, molecular messengers.
Oh, okay.
They basically tell cells what to do.
Uh-huh.
They're proteins that signal the cells to grow and divide
Right.
and even specialize, become different types of cells.
Mm.
So we need them for all sorts of things like wound healing,
Oh, wow.
embryonic development. They're really crucial.
So they're like the
Yeah.
conductors of an orchestra,
I like that.
making sure everything is working together in harmony.
Yeah, exactly. Keep everything running smoothly.
But then what happens when the conductor goes rogue
Right.
and starts calling for like a chaotic symphony?
Well, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what happens with cancer.
Oh, okay.
The article talks about specific growth factors,
Okay.
like epidermal growth factor, or EGF.
Right.
There's platelet-derived growth factor, PDGF,
Okay.
and then transforming growth factor beta, PGF-beta.
Okay. So those are our players.
Those are some of the big ones, yeah.
Those are the big baddies we're talking about today.
Exactly. And when these signaling pathways get all messed up,
Yeah.
that's when you can get that uncontrolled cell growth.
Gotcha. So we've got EGF, PDGF, and TGF-beta. There are conductors gone rogue.
Right.
How does that happen?
Well, there's a few different ways these growth factors can go bad.
Okay.
One way is through what's called overexpression.
Okay.
So imagine a cell just being bombarded with way too many growth signals.
Mm.
Like your phone's just constantly buzzing with notifications.
All right.
You just can't keep up.
Right.
And that can lead to, excessive cell division,
Okay.
which is one of the hallmarks of cancer.
So it's not just the presence of the growth factors.
Right.
It's the quantity.
It's the amount. Yeah,
too much of a good thing.
exactly. Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing in this case.
Right. Makes sense.
But sometimes the problem even with how much growth factor there is.
Oh, okay.
It can be an issue with the receptors
The receptors.
on the cell surface. Yeah. So think of them like the ears of the cell.
Okay, so they're the ones listening.
They're listening to those growth factor signals.
Right.
And sometimes these receptors can become like amplified.
Amplified.
Yeah. There's more of them
Okay.
than usual. So even a normal amount of growth factor can trigger
Uh-huh.
an excessive response.
It's like they've turned up the volume.
Exactly. They've cranked up the volume on those receivers.
Okay.
They're hypersensitive.
Gotcha.
And then you've got mutations,
Mutations.
which are changes in the genes
Okay.
that actually code for the growth factors themselves
Oh, okay.
or for their receptors.
Mm-hmm.
And these mutations can lead to these constant on-end signals
Oh, wow.
for growth, even without any external growth factor present.
So like a light switch that's just stuck on.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah.
No matter what you do, the light stays on.
Right, exactly.
Wow. So these growth factors, they're sneaky,
They can be, yeah.
but it gets
Yes.
even more complicated, right?
It does.
Because they don't always act alone.
That's right.
They can
There.
actually cooperate.
Yeah.
Like they're teaming up to cause trouble.
They do. It's amazing.
What does that look like?
So the article uses the term synergy
Okay.
to describe this phenomenon.
Okay. So imagine like a group of really skilled thieves
Okay.
all working together to pull off a heist.
All right.
Each one has their own specialty.
Yeah.
And when they combine their skills, they become much more effective.
Exactly. That's the idea.
So the growth factors are like our little heist crew,
They are, yeah.
each one contributing to the overall chaos.
Yeah. Like, for example, they can engage in what's called crosstalk.
Crosstalk.
Yeah. So this is where different growth factor pathways,
Okay.
which are like separate signaling networks within the cell,
Right.
they actually start communicating
Oh, wow.
with each other and influencing each other.
So they're not just working in isolation.
No, they're networking.
They're scheming.
Exactly. They're amplifying their effects.
Oh, no.
And it goes beyond the cells themselves.
Okay.
Growth factors can actually influence the tumor microenvironment.
Okay.
So they can promote something called angiogenesis,
Angiogenesis.
which is the formation of new blood vessels
Okay.
to supply the tumor with nutrients and oxygen.
So they're building roads.
Exactly. Building infrastructure
Wow.
to support this growing tumor city.
It's like a city planning project for the tumor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then, uh, maybe most alarmingly,
Yeah.
they can actually suppress the immune system.
The immune system.
Yeah.
Which is our body's defense.
For natural defense
Wow.
against invaders like cancer cells.
So they're promoting growth and then disabling the very things that could stop them.
Exactly. It's amazing how they can kind of manipulate this system.
It's pretty devious.
It is. It is. It's a complex web of interactions that scientists are still trying to understand.
Yeah.
But with this knowledge comes the potential for new and more effective treatments.
Okay, so that's good. That's good. There's some hope.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, so they're devious, they're sneaky, they team up, but there are ways to fight back.
There are.
What are some of those?
So one of the most exciting areas is what's called targeted therapies.
Okay.
Which aim to disrupt those rogue signals.
So instead of using like a sledgehammer, like chemo,
Okay.
we're using more precise tools.
Exactly, yeah.
Very cool.
A couple of main approaches. One is to use monoclonal antibodies.
Monoclonal antibodies.
These are lab-created antibodies
Okay.
designed to bind to specific growth factors or the receptors, blocking their activity.
So it's like sending in a specialized team to intercept those signals.
That's a great analogy.
Before they can cause damage.
Exactly, yeah.
Very cool. And then
there are tyrosine kinase inhibitors, or TKIs.
Tyrosine kinase inhibitors, TKI.
Which work by interfering with a key enzyme called tyrosine kinase, which is involved in transmitting those growth signals.
So instead of blocking the signals themselves, they're disrupting the communication network.
Exactly. Yeah, like cutting the communication lines.
So the signal's still going out?
Yeah.
But nobody's there to receive it.
No one's getting the message.
Right. Okay. Got it. And these targeted therapies, hopefully they have fewer side effects.
They often do, yeah. Than chemo.
Because they're designed to be more selective in their action.
More selective.
Yeah.
That's great.
Uh-oh.
There's always a but.
There is.
You know, you mentioned earlier that tumors are really adaptable.
They are.
Can they develop resistance to even these very targeted therapies?
That's one of the big challenges.
How? What are we doing about that?
Yeah. So just like bacteria can become resistant to antibiotics, tumor cells can evolve ways to evade these therapies.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a constant.
So it's like an arms race?
It is an arms race, yeah. Scientists are constantly working on strategies to overcome that resistance.
Okay.
Trying to stay one step ahead.
So what are some of the...
It's a tough challenge, yeah.
What are some of the weapons in this arms race?
Well, one promising approach is combination therapy.
Combination therapy.
So the idea is to hit the tumor with multiple drugs.
Okay.
That target different growth factors.
So don't give it a single target.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hit it from different angles.
Right.
Makes it much harder to develop resistance.
Right.
If it figures out how to evade one drug.
Yeah.
It's still vulnerable to the others.
Okay.
It's like a multi-pronged attack.
So it's like chess.
It is like chess.
We got to anticipate their next move.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then plan accordingly.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So combination therapy and what else?
And then also developing drugs that can actually block those specific mutations that allow tumor cells to evade the therapies.
So it's like a...
Like if a tumor develops a certain mutation that makes it resistant to a drug, scientists are trying to develop new drugs to combat that specific mutation.
Countermeasure for every move.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a dynamic field.
It's incredible.
There's a lot of work being done.
This is where precision medicine comes in, right?
Yes. Precision medicine is all about tailoring the treatment to the individual.
Okay.
To the individual patient. Because not all tumors are created equal.
Right.
Even if you have two people with the same type of cancer, their tumors may have different mutations.
Right.
Or be driven by different growth factors.
So it's like taking a fingerprint.
Exactly.
Of the tumor.
It's like a fingerprint.
Looking at its unique characteristics.
Yes. And the tool we use to take that fingerprint is genetic testing.
Genetic testing.
Yeah. So technologies like next-generation sequencing.
Oh, wow.
They allow us to analyze the tumor's DNA and RNA.
Okay.
In incredible detail.
So we can see, oh, this one's driven by this.
Exactly.
This one's driven by that.
We can identify those mutations, those pathways, and that can guide the treatment decisions.
So it's like having a blueprint.
It's a blueprint, yeah.
Of the tumor. It shows the strengths and weaknesses, and then you can attack the weaknesses.
Exactly. So if testing shows, okay, this tumor's driven by the overexpression of this particular growth factor.
Okay.
then the doctor might choose a monoclonal antibody that targets that specific growth factor.
Oh, wow.
Or if it has a mutation that makes it resistant to one TKI, they can choose a different one. That might be more effective.
So instead of one size fits all,
right,
you're tailoring the treatment.
Tailoring it to the patient, yeah.
Wow. That's really incredible.
And this is already having a big impact.
Oh, wow.
On cancer treatment.
Yeah.
Studies have shown that patients who receive precision medicine treatments often have better outcomes.
That's amazing.
Longer survival times, fewer side effects.
That's wonderful.
Very encouraging, yeah.
This level of precision must require a lot of collaboration.
It does. It's a team effort.
Right.
You've got oncologists, you've got pathologists, geneticists, all these different healthcare professionals.
Working together. Wow.
To analyze that tumor, interpret the data.
That's incredible.
And develop the best plan.
Wow. It's really inspiring.
It is. It's a testament to what we can achieve.
To see all these different fields coming together to solve this.
It's really amazing.
To fight them.
It is. It's a great example of collaboration and innovation.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
What's on the horizon for this field?
Well, one area that holds a lot of promise is immunotherapy.
Immunotherapy?
Yeah. So it's a type of treatment that uses the body's own immune system.
Wow.
To fight the cancer.
So instead of attacking the tumor, you're boosting the body's ability.
We're empowering the body
to fight it off.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow. That's really incredible.
And it's not directly targeting growth factors.
Yeah.
But immunotherapy is often used in combination with those targeted therapies.
Gotcha.
To make them even more effective.
Wow, so it's like a 1-2 punch?
It is, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This is all so fascinating.
It is a fascinating area, yeah.
We've covered so much.
We have.
From like those tiny molecular messengers to these cutting-edge therapies.
Yeah.
It's like we've zoomed in from looking at the whole orchestra to focusing on the individual instruments.
I like that analogy.
And now we're learning how to conduct.
We're learning how to conduct.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time to be in this field.
It really is.
Yeah. And, it's important to remember, this is an ongoing journey.
Oh, of course.
Scientists are constantly learning more about these growth factors and how they contribute to cancer and developing new ways to fight back.
Absolutely. Well, that's a really hopeful note to end on.
It is. It's a very promising area.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So much for sharing all this.
It's been my pleasure.
Incredible information with us.
Oh, thank you.
We'll be back with part 2.
Sounds good.
Of our deep dive.
I'm looking forward to it.
Into growth factors and tumorigenesis.
I'll see you
next time.
See you then. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. We can actually target these tiny molecular messengers with such precision.
It's wild.
Yeah. Like we've zoomed in from looking at the entire orchestra to focusing on individual instruments.
Yeah.
Understanding how each one contributes to the harmony, or in this case, the dissonance.
Yeah.
But, as we talked about earlier, it's an ongoing battle.
Right.
Tumors are incredibly adaptable.
Oh, yeah.
And they can evolve ways to resist.
Oh, yeah.
Even our most targeted therapies.
So how do scientists tackle that?
Right.
The challenge of resistance.
Yeah. It's a daunting task.
It seems huge.
It is. But researchers are coming up with these really clever strategies to counter these evasive maneuvers.
Okay.
One approach that we're seeing more and more of is combination therapy.
Combination therapy. So instead of just using one drug, you're using multiple drugs.
Exactly.
That attack different growth factors.
Different growth factors, different pathways.
Hit them with everything.
Exactly. Think of it like a multi-pronged attack.
Right.
You're hitting the tumor from different angles.
So it can't adapt as easily.
It makes it much harder to develop resistance.
Right.
Even if it figures out a way to evade one drug,
yeah,
it's still vulnerable to the others.
Okay.
It's kind of like a game of chess.
Yeah.
You're anticipating the tumor's next move.
And I'll be thinking ahead.
You gotta be thinking ahead.
Like 2-3 steps ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to change your strategy mid-game.
Right.
Right. So researchers are also working on drugs that can directly overcome resistance mechanisms.
Okay.
So like, for example, if a tumor develops a mutation that allows it to evade a specific drug.
Right.
Scientists are trying to develop
Wow.
new drugs that target that mutation.
Always working
to
to stay ahead.
It's a constant cycle of innovation, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really cool.
But it's not just about developing new drugs.
Oh.
It's also about how to use the drugs we have in the best possible way.
Okay.
And this is where precision medicine.
Precision medicine. Yeah, let's talk more about that. How's it being used to fight these cancers?
So precision medicine.
That are driven by growth factors.
Yeah, so precision medicine, it's all about tailoring the treatment to the individual patient.
Right.
You know, it recognizes that no two tumors are alike.
Right.
Even if two people have the same type of cancer, their tumors might have different mutations.
Right, different drivers.
Different drivers, yeah.
It's like taking, like we said, a fingerprint of each tumor.
It's like a fingerprint.
And then you analyze it. Its unique characteristics.
You know, and the tool we use to take that fingerprint is genetic testing.
Oh, okay.
Technologies like next-generation sequencing allow us to analyze the tumor's DNA and RNA in incredible detail.
So you can see, like, oh, this one's driven by this growth factor.
Right.
This one's driven by that one.
Exactly. We can identify those mutations, those pathways, and that can guide treatment decisions.
So then how does that actually work?
Yeah. So armed with this genetic information, doctors can choose therapies that are most likely to be effective against that particular tumor.
Okay.
So, for example, if testing reveals that a tumor is driven by overexpression of a specific growth factor, the doctor might choose a monoclonal antibody that targets that growth factor.
Okay.
Or if the tumor has a mutation that makes it resistant to a particular TKI, they can choose a different TKI that's known to be effective.
So you're really personalizing it.
You're personalizing it, yeah.
That's amazing.
Instead of one-size-fits-all, you're tailoring it.
Wow. And is this working?
It is. It's already having a significant impact on treatment.
Wow.
Studies have shown that patients who receive these precision medicine treatments often have better outcomes.
That's great to hear.
Including longer survival times and fewer side effects.
That's fantastic.
It's very encouraging.
This is amazing. So this level of like personalized medicine, it must require a lot of collaboration.
It does. It does.
Between different fields.
It's a real team effort.
Right.
It involves oncologists, pathologists, geneticists.
Wow.
All sorts of healthcare professionals working together.
So they all got to come together.
They got to work together,
to look at this.
Analyze the tumor, interpret the data, and figure out the best plan for that patient.
It's really inspiring to see.
It is. It is.
All these different fields coming together
to solve this problem.
So this,
It's a great example of collaboration and innovation.
It really is. So I'm just curious, looking ahead, what's next?
Yeah.
What are some of the things?
What's on the horizon?
Yeah, what's on the horizon?
Yeah, well, one area that I think holds a lot of promise is immunotherapy.
Immunotherapy.
Yeah, so this is a type of treatment that actually harnesses the power of the body's own immune system.
So instead of attacking the tumor directly, you're kind of boosting the body's ability.
Yeah, we're empowering the body
to fight it off itself.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And while it's not directly targeting those growth factors, immunotherapy is often used in combination with those targeted therapies to make them even more effective.
So it's like a 1-2 punch.
It is. It is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
It's exciting.
How all of this is coming together. Like we've covered so much.
We have.
From, like you said, those tiny molecular messengers. Yeah.
To these cutting-edge therapies.
Yeah.
Like we zoomed in from the entire orchestra to those individual instruments.
I love that analogy.
And now we're learning to conduct.
We're learning to conduct, yeah.
That's so cool.
It's an exciting time to be in the field.
It really is.
And, you know, I think it's important to remember that this is an ongoing journey. Yeah. Scientists are constantly learning more.
Of course, of course.
About how these growth factors contribute to cancer.
And coming up with
developing new ways to fight back.
To fight it.
It's an amazing field.
Wow. Well, that's a really hopeful note, I think.
It is.
To end on.
It is.
So thank you so much for sharing all of this.
You're very welcome. It's been my pleasure.
Incredible information.
It's a fascinating topic.
It is.
Yeah.
We'll be back with part 3 of our deep dive into growth factors and tumorigenesis.
Looking forward to it.
See you next time.
See you then. You know, it's really incredible to think how far we've come in understanding these cellular processes.
It is.
Like we've gone from viewing cancer as this monolithic enemy to really recognizing its complexity and individuality.
Absolutely.
It's like we finally gotten a peek behind the curtain and discovered there's not just one Wizard of Oz, but a whole cast of characters.
It's a good analogy.
All playing a role.
It is. It's like a complex play.
Right, exactly.
With all these different actors.
And lots of twists and turns along the way.
Oh, definitely. Lots of surprises, lots of setbacks.
But, I think it's safe to say that the discoveries we've been talking about, especially those targeted therapies,
absolutely,
they've really changed.
Yeah, they've changed the game.
The landscape of cancer treatment.
I think that's fair to say, yeah.
We've gone from wielding these blunt instruments to these finely crafted tools that can target those vulnerabilities.
Exactly. More precise, more targeted.
But, of course, with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely. Whenever you have...
Are there any...
a powerful technology?
Ethical considerations?
Yeah, there will always have to think about.
That potential for misuse.
Right.
Or unintended consequences.
When we're talking about that.
Humans have to manipulating these.
Be very careful.
Processes of life and growth.
And make sure that these advances are being used responsibly.
So it's not just about
ethically
the science. It's also about the values.
Absolutely.
That guide how we apply that science.
For example, one of the biggest challenges we face is ensuring equitable access.
That's huge.
To these treatments.
Mm-hmm.
Many of these targeted therapies are incredibly expensive.
Right.
And that raises concerns about affordability and accessibility for all patients who could benefit.
Right.
We need to make sure that everyone has a fair chance.
It's like we found the key to the door.
To access these treatments regardless of their socioeconomic status.
But not everyone has a key.
Exactly.
Right.
And then there's also the issue of informed consent.
Oh, right.
Patients need to be fully informed about the benefits and the risks.
Before they make a decision.
Yeah, of these therapies before making treatment decisions.
Right.
And it's not just about providing information.
Okay.
It's about having a conversation with patients.
So it's about empowering them.
Empowering them to make choices that align with their values.
To make their own choices.
Yes, exactly.
So it's about moving away from that paternalistic model.
From that top-down approach.
The healthcare.
Yeah, to a more collaborative one.
More of a partnership.
Exactly.
Wow, that's great.
And we also have to be mindful of the potential for unintended consequences.
Unforeseen consequences,
Yeah, as we get better at manipulating growth factor signaling.
Are there any...
There's always a risk of side effects.
Right.
Or even new forms of resistance emerging.
So
it's a constant
learning process.
Process of evaluation and refinement.
Right. We're always learning.
We need those clinical trials.
Refining as we go.
Careful monitoring.
It seems like we're at this really pivotal moment.
I think so, yeah.
We've made all this incredible progress.
It's a really exciting time.
Understanding cancer and developing these targeted therapies.
We've come a long way.
But there's still so much work to be done.
Absolutely.
To make sure it's all used ethically.
Yes.
Equitably.
It's not just about the science.
Right.
It's about how we use it.
About the values, yeah.
Exactly.
I completely agree. But I'm also really optimistic about the future.
I am too.
Like the pace of discovery is so fast.
It's incredible.
New breakthroughs are happening.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like we've opened this door to this vast new landscape.
Yeah.
And we're just starting to explore it.
It's a really exciting time to be in this field.
That's a thought that really fills me with hope and excitement.
It is inspiring.
So we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, we have.
We've talked about the role of growth factors.
Science, the ethics.
The ethics.
Yeah.
The search for
future
better treatments.
It's been a great conversation.
It really has. A huge thank you.
Thank you.
To our expert.
It's been my pleasure.
For being here.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
And to our listeners, thank you.
Thanks for listening.
For joining us.
Yeah.
For this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.
We hope you found it informative.
That's over now.
And engaging.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep those questions coming.
Keep asking questions.
Yeah.
And keep that scientific curiosity alive.
Absolutely.